Hello and welcome to Hanging by a Thread. My name is Ailsa and this is my little corner of the internet where I talk about all things knitting. Today I have a pattern roundup for you of colorwork patterns for the summer. Now, I know this is not intuitive. Often when we think about colorwork knitting, we think of big, cozy winter knitting. We think of like the traditional fair isle, the traditional Nordic colorwork yoke sweaters. We think of being cozy. We think of rustic yarns and all of that extra warmth from those fibers knitting together or overlapping one another. So bear with me if this seems like a little bit of a wild idea, but here's where this all started. In the past year, I've completely fallen in love with colorwork. I've made a couple of projects for my daughter, so sweaters for my daughter. And then I've recently gotten into knitting colorwork socks, and I definitely feel bitten by the bug. So, as we move into the warmer months, I didn't want to give up on this new fun thing I've been doing and enjoying in my knitting life. Um, and I wanted to see what was out there in terms of using colorwork in summer projects. Now, obviously, I could, and in fact am, just make a colorwork pattern intended for the winter during the summer months. There's obviously nothing stopping me from doing that. So, right now, one moment, let me get it for you. So, right now, I am working on a sweater, a colorwork sweater for my daughter. This is the mini unbearable hoodie, but I'm doing it as a just regular sweater. So I have been working on this for my daughter. This is not a summer knit, but I am knitting it in the summer. So clearly that is an option and something that you too could do. But I was specifically looking for patterns that were designed to be worn in the summer months or in the warmer months. So that's where my thinking was at. As I've been looking into this, I have gathered up a whole range of patterns into a Ravelry bundle. I'll link that down below. I'm not going to go through all of these today. That would be an incredibly long video, but I will link that so that if you're interested in this idea, you can look through all of the patterns that I've collected so far. So today we're going to be talking in several different categories. I'm going to talk about t-shirts, tanks, socks, and then accessories. So some different choices for how to get into colorwork knitting this summer. I will also say, bear with me because I am going to be looking at my iPad throughout this because I simply cannot retain this much information in my head for the course of this video. So apologies for that in advance. First up in the t-shirt category, we have the float side pattern from Wool and Pine. This is a fingering weight pattern and it features this really effortlessly cool looking t-shirt. You have this very chill silhouette is the only way that I can describe it. This very kind of relaxed fit with a gentle scoop neck and very flowy oversized fit. And then you have in the center panel of the t-shirt some beautiful color work, which is framed by a Latvian braid. So really cool looking, quite graphic with especially how it's been done in the sample photos. This quite striking contrast with the colors and these like long vertical lines of, they almost look like beads to me. So yeah, very striking, but also kind of effortless, it looks like to me. And then the cool thing about this, or one of the cool things about this, is that it's also designed to be knit side to side. So as well as having a really engaging colorwork project, you also have a rarer construction style to sink your teeth into if you're a more experienced knitter. The designers also emphasize that this is a great option for stash busting. And this is one of the things that Wool and Pine are famous for. They have their sea glass range of patterns, which are great stash busters. And they have another one as well that I'm forgetting the name of, but this is very much part of their brand. So this is a great option to play around with some fingering weight scraps that you have in your stash and see how you can put them together, see what color combinations you can come up with, which I know a lot of us start the year focused on stash busting, but maybe this summertime is a good time to reset and check in with those goals, and this might be a great project to do that with. This t-shirt I'm going to share with you is actually also knit side to side, which I don't know, that's kind of cool that that showed up twice in this video. This is the Nomad Tee by Rachel Ilsley, also known as Unwind Knitwear. This is a light fingering weight t-shirt. And it's another one that has kind of this center panel. And this one is kind of a bit more geometric. It almost makes me think of like mosaic tiles. Or yeah, for me, it feels very Greek. I'm not sure why, but it definitely has that kind of boho vibe, probably because it has this quite deep V and then this like graphic element. It's really, really lovely. It comes in two views, I believe. So there's one with kind of a longer sleeve and then more of a cap sleeve. So you can kind of make choices about which style you prefer. I also love that in the samples on this pattern, there's a more monochrome option where she's used different shades of blue. And then there's a more striking version that she's showing that's kind of black and gold. So you can really see the different choices you could make and the different effects that might have on how your pattern turns out. I actually am obsessed with Rachel Ilsley has quite a few summer colorwork patterns, and I'm just so obsessed by how she puts these together. I think they're really beautiful. So this one, yeah, it's designed for light fingering. I believe, yeah, she uses sock yarns in her samples. So um, or 100% superwash merino. You can see, however, when you look at some of the projects that have been made, that people are choosing sometimes to do blends. So, for example, there's somebody who's used Sandnesgarn Tin Lena, which is a plant-based and wool blend, and some other blends like that. So, if you're wary of using a sock yarn or 100% merino, there are, it seems, other options available to you. If you're looking for a pattern that is designed for a plant-based fiber, for a true summer fiber, this next pattern is going to be for you. So this is the Dantara by Jennifer Beal, and she designed this pattern in 100% linen. I think that's really cool. I know that for myself, I have some hesitations about knitting color work when I'm using plant-based fibers, because I know that these smoother fibers, these smoother yarns, are going to have less grip, and there's going to be more challenges in getting the color work to look as I want it to when it doesn't have the kind of toothiness that yarn does. Um, so knowing that the designer has specifically made this with 100% plant-based fiber, and has achieved this effect is actually very reassuring, and I really like that. This pattern also combines color work with a summer work staple, lace, and it's a really beautiful effect. It looks like the kind of thing that you could dress up or dress down. Um, Definitely very kind of fancy, but I can imagine you getting away with it with just like a pair of jean shorts and then having kind of like a cool look around it. I see a lot of versatility in this. This is another fingering weight pattern. And I'll share that when I looked through the projects on this one, the ones that most caught my eye and what I would be most tempted to do if I were going to make this one were the ones that were kind of more low contrast in the color work. So the sample is quite bold and yeah, it has a lot of contrast in it, but the low contrast ones I just think look really stunning, like the subtlety, and it's almost a surprise that there's color work in there. At like a first glance, you might not catch it, but then you see it. I love that. It feels like an illusion. So yeah, that's a really cool idea. So I think this one definitely has potential to be a really great canvas for whatever kind of look you're going for. Next up, we have a more traditional colorwork pattern in that it's a circular yoke. So this is the bonfire tee from Samantha Guerin. Um, this is another fingering weight tee. We're seeing a theme here that lighter gauges are maybe the way to go when you're doing color work. So fingering weight tee, circular yoke with that kind of classic colorwork yoke patterning done. I love how this one, its name is the bonfire tee, and the motif that she's used like has this kind of, it's not literal flames, but this like feeling of flames and sparks. It does have that kind of vibe of just seeing sparks around the campfire. I don't know. I really like that. And I can imagine if you made some choices in different colors, you could go more literal with that, or you could go for a more subtle look in the way that the sample is done. The designer uses Wall Dreamer's sauna in the sample, which is 100% wool. It's just a blend of two different breeds, I believe. So it is designed with wool. But when I look at the patterns, I can see that some people have used uh, more summer-friendly blends. So I can see linen quill from Pearl Soho on here, as well as a flax-based yarn, some cotton yarn. So there are some people who've had success using more summer-friendly yarns. So just to bear that in mind, that's one of the things I've been looking at when I've been going through these patterns. So there are some options there. But yeah, I think this one's a really lovely one. And this one I feel like is one of those t-shirt patterns that would probably be more of a shoulder season t-shirt. So you might wear it in the late spring into summer, or in the late summer into early fall. Because I don't know, it just has that feeling of being, even though it's still fingering weight, it looks a little bit heavier and a little bit more cozy. So I don't know, I haven't made it, but that's just the vibe that I get from it. So maybe that's something to bear in mind, or maybe I'm wrong about that. And if you've knit this t-shirt and you wear it all the way through the summer, let me know. But yeah, I really, really like this one. I think it has a lot of versatility and could have a place in many a wardrobe. The final pattern I'm going to share in this t-shirt category is the Suncatcher t-shirt from Kindred Red. And I'm going to say it right up front. This is a free pattern. We love to see it. So this one is published by Hobie, the yarn website, and they are offering the pattern free through their website. It's designed at a fingering weight in the Hobie rainbow cotton. And this one, in contrast to the other ones I've shared so far, is an intarsia pattern. So although we often think colorwork equals stranded knitting, it can be intarsia, it can be mosaic. So this is an intarsia piece. This one has this kind of like patchwork effect. Not quite, because it's very regular, but so it's essentially like these colorful squares that come together into this t-shirt. The sample pictures are so joyful. I think that's what really caught my eye, just these like really joyful, bright, pastel-y colors, this rainbow feeling. It's got a super wide neckline and this kind of square neck, and it's quite cropped. So it does have that kind of fun, beachy vibe to it, I guess, because of um, the styling of it, which again, great for summer. Um, yeah, I really love this one. It's just so fun. And again, it's designed to be made with cotton, so that's always a plus. So because this is intarsia, this one will be knit flat. I have knit intarsia in the past. It's been a long time, but my understanding is it's a lot easier to do flat than in the round. So you really don't want to be messing with intarsia in the round. So this one is, maybe for a more adventurous knitter, maybe not. But it does look like it would be worth the effort and be a really fun piece to have in your wardrobe. Um, and again, I'm really in love with the colors that the designer has used, but you could definitely go for a more subtle palette, and you could definitely choose to take this in a completely different direction. So lots of choices here as always. Okay, moving along now into our tanks category. Um, First up in this category is one that I'm sure everyone has seen. This is the Moon Crush tank by Jack Cieslak. This pattern I feel like took the knitting world by storm a couple of years ago. There's also a t-shirt version, I believe, and maybe a sweater version. Don't quote me on that, but I think so. So this one is this really cool graphic, color blocked in a really interesting way tank. Um, and it just looks so good. It's been knit quite a few times. How many projects does it have? 388. And I just feel like every one I see looks so good in all the different color combinations and all the different stylings. Like, it's just so cool. Yeah, I love the low contrast ones. I love the high contrast ones. This is very high on my dream knit list. I don't think I'm going to get to tackle it this year, but one year I will. Again, this is fingering weight. It was designed with Pearl Soho field linen, so again, designed with a plant-based fiber in mind. Yeah, that's 100% linen. And it comes with options for either a 3-color or a 2-color version, and in a cropped length or a full length. So you have some choices that you can make there. Oh, I also love when designers do this. She gives some options of other yarns that you might want to use depending on what's available to you. So love that. Love when people do that. Um, so Oh, and then the other thing to say about this one, which did I say this already? This is also intarsia. So another one that's going to use that more advanced skill, I guess. Do we count intarsia as an advanced skill? It feels advanced to me because the few times I've done it, I got kind of flustered by it, but maybe it's not that hard and maybe I just need to give it another go. To me, this feels like a slight stretch goal of a project because of the intarsia. So that's where my thinking is. But another beautiful pattern, and one that I'm sure is on many people's to knit list if you haven't made it already. Okay, next up we have a tank top, and this is the one that I may actually get to knitting this summer. You never know. I'm not promising anything, but it's on my list. I have the yarn for it, and I'd like to get it done. This is the Lima top by Peniel Larson, who is the in-house designer for Knitting for Olive. This is a really fun take on a striped tank. So at first glance, when you look at this, it looks like it's just a basic striped tank top. But when you zoom in, you realize that it's actually a colorwork motif with these different kind of patterns creating the stripes and different motifs. I just love that. I kind of like the idea of something that you don't realize what it is when you're first looking at it. And then when you get closer to it or you see the detail, it becomes clear that there's more to the eye. So this one is designed with the Knitting for Olive brand of yarns. So they're suggesting merino, pure silk, or cotton merino. So you have your choices there. I actually have the Filcolana Mercy in stash, which is a cotton merino blend to use for this one. So obviously you don't have to use Knitting for Olive, but that's what it was designed with. So that light fingering. This one is knit bottom up, which I know isn't everyone's preferred method. And also one thing to be aware of, this tank top is going to require you to do color work flat once you get to the separating the front and back. So that's another thing that might be a challenge for some people. I think I'm up for it. I'm willing to give it a go. But it may not be everyone's cup of tea. So just to highlight that for you. Okay, next up we have the Viva Cami, which is from Ksenia Naidyan. I did not look up how to say that name beforehand. I'm so sorry if I've messed that up. I will write it down below. Yeah, my apologies. That's a name I have not come across before. So this is a beautiful camisole pattern, and this is, I believe, my first mosaic pattern of today's roundup. So this is another fingering weight pattern, and you're getting this camisole with this beautiful chevron design. It has thin straps, it has a slight V in the front and the back. Again, it's a striped tee, it's a striped tank, but just a little bit more interesting. I think that's what I enjoy about it. That it's just slightly more interesting than doing a basic striped tank. So this one, fun to use mosaic, fun to have that design element in there. I also really love how that chevron follows the V-neck. That looks very classy to me. I can't explain exactly why, but it has a really classy impact. It is designed to be knit with a merino, but there are people who have used things like Sandusgarn Tin Lena, Concept by Katia Cotton Cashmere, Pure Silk. So there are some options there around using more summer-friendly yarns. Okay, the last pattern I'm going to share in this tank category is the Nina top. This one is from Irene Lynn, and I am obsessed with this top. I don't know when I'm going to make it, but at some point I would love to. In fact, I'm kind of obsessed with a lot of Irene Lynn's patterns, and I've never made any of them, but I just love her style and her aesthetic. So this one, it is a DK weight top. So for all my friends who do not want to knit a fingering weight garment, this is for you. So it's a DK weight top. It's a vest tank with a beautiful collar. And then, so the top is in this really beautiful, I believe it's just a ribbing or a lace pattern. So you've got the texture of the top section, and then you have the color work in mosaic knitting that comes from just above the bust line. It's so unique and cool and so beautifully styled. Yeah, I'm obsessed with it. I love the colors that she's done it in. This is designed in Ito Batake washi lily yarn, which is a cotton and washi paper yarn. I was not able to find anywhere near me that stocks this, but such a cool, unique yarn. And I'm sure if you could get it, it would be really interesting to work with. I believe she has a video as well talking about using this yarn. But I can see from the projects that people have used other yarns with success. So definitely don't let the possible inaccessibility of the yarn put you off, because there are other options available. But yeah, this one is another on the dream knit, because I just think it's so cool, and it would just be it would feel like a triumph to knit this one. So this is very high on my dream knits as well. If you're not up for knitting a colorwork garment for the summer, knitting accessories, whether it's socks or another type of accessory, is a great way to keep knitting colorwork, to scratch that itch while not committing to a garment in the summertime. So I have some patterns here, both some socks and some accessories. We'll go through both, that are beautiful colorwork patterns, but aren't committing you to a full colorwork garment. So let's talk about some socks first of all. First up, I have socks from This Handmade Life. These are the summer picnic socks. And they're little shorty socks with a gingham pattern that mimics the look of a picnic blanket or like the inside of a picnic basket. Um, so stinking cute. They are just adorable and they would look so good with like your summer sandals or just peeking out. I love these. Really, really cute, would be really fun. Um, so yeah, I think these ones really evoke that feeling of summer in the color work, as well as being the shorties, which have a summery feeling to me. Next up on my list are the Tiptoe Through the Tulip socks from Stone Knits. Florals for summer, revolutionary, but I just love these. They're so cheerful. They're so bright. I love the flower motif going all the way down, and I think you could do really great choices in lots of different colors on these ones. And again, um, just would be a fun way to incorporate some color work into your summer without committing to a garment. So these ones have a summery vibe to me. I don't know. Tulip's more of a spring flower. I'm starting to doubt myself now, but even so, I feel like they're just like joyfulness of flowers and like the bloomingness of flowers. We don't have to get too hung up on the schedule of when plants specifically bloom. Yeah, I think these ones are really, really fun and could be also really nice. I've been wearing my Colourwork socks as it gets warmer in the evenings, and I'm just imagining like pulling on a nice pair of Colourwork socks at the cottage and, snuggling in for the night when it's a little bit cooler. So yeah, these ones are lovely and definitely on my to knit list. And then in a similar vein, but with a different style, we have the Lupinit socks by Suvi Liktikainen. Oh, Kainen. I'm sorry again. I did not figure out how to say that name, and I will write it below. I'm so sorry. These are a beautiful pair of socks with this floral motif. Um, and then you're doing twisted braids to give the texture of the flowers so you get that kind of raised look. I love that. So delicate, gives it dimension, really beautiful. Okay, my final category is the accessories, and this has mostly ended up being bags, but we'll talk about let's say one other. We'll talk about a couple of bags and then one other pattern because I don't want this to go on forever. I'm having so much trouble choosing between all of these patterns to share with you. Okay, so first up in this accessories category, we are going to look at the Pressed Flowers kerchief. This is another free pattern, another one that's on Hobie. This one was designed in collaboration with Hobie and their pom-pom garland yarn. And so it's free on the website. But the pressed flowers patterns need no introduction. I'm sure you've seen them before. There's a whole series of them. There's a shawl, there's a cardigan, there's a sweater, there's lots. There's a hat, there's socks. And this is a free pattern that allows you to have a little kerchief in this motif. This is another DK weight pattern. But I think because it's a kerchief, you could realistically use any weight you wanted. I love the idea of doing this as a little swatch if you're planning on making one of the other patterns. I mean, the yardage may be a bit much for a swatch, so maybe if you have a lot of yardage, you want to do it as a swatch. But I just love this idea of like, if you just want to dip your toes into the pressed flowers world, figure out if this pattern is for you, if you like this motif. You can do it in this kerchief and have this free version. I think that's really cool. And obviously, you could have a lot of fun with different colors and seeing what plays well together. Next up, we have the case study from Jennifer L. Paracini, One Wild Designs. This is a really cool little intarsia pouch. It could be a notions case. It says it could be used for your tablet or composition book. And it's also, the designer says, a way of getting you ready to make the study group sweater, which is a full-on intarsia pullover. So it's kind of giving you the skills and practice to make that bigger project, which I really love that. So if that project is on your to knit list, which I'm definitely interested in that project, this might be a cool way to get familiar with those techniques. It's just a really fun, graphic, bold design, and I think you could use it for lots of different things. It's just really fun. Why not? Next up, we have the Summertime Tote Bag. This is from Tamara Jordan, aka Starcross Knits. This is a worsted weight pattern, so something that's going to knit up quickly, which is designed with the Lily Sugar and Cream line of yarns, so that 100% cotton. It's a tote bag that's meant to mimic the kind of classic canvas tote. And the great thing about this pattern is it comes included with 2 Colourwork charts, but the designer says it's a great basis for experimenting with your own Colourwork charts or color blocking, embroidery. So it really is a canvas for you to play with. And also she suggests that you could add a drawstring top and turn it into a bucket bag or a backpack. So I just love that there's lots of options to play with this one, and you can add those really fun summery motifs through the stranded knitting. But also, if you decide you've made the Colourwork one and you need a break from Colourwork, then you could just make a plainer one, and this is just a good base knit to do different things. So yeah, I love the creativity of this one and the flexibility and the encouragement from the designer to kind of be creative with it. So yeah, this just feels like one that you could have a lot of fun with. So the last bag I'm going to share with you is the Gentiana by Elena Solier Janse. This is from the 52 Weeks of Scrap Yarn book from Liner magazine, but oh, can you purchase it? No, you have to purchase it through that book. Okay. But anyway, maybe this is the nudge that you/I need to get this book. So this is like that classic vacation bag, like, you know, like the bum bag where I'm thinking like the 90s where people used to wear it strapped around the middle, and like it just had that complete like holiday, like a vacationer, sightseer vibe, but make it fashion, I guess. And like obviously now I know lots of people wear these more as crossbody bags, but it's that classic style, and I think that's what makes it feel summery to me, even though the colors used in the sample are not particularly summery. They're much more kind of muted and understated, but you could go for really fun, bright, summery colors. And obviously, it coming from the 52 Weeks of Scrap Yarn book, the possibility here is to raid your scraps and make this beautiful Colourwork design. In the description of this one, it does say, don't be intimidated. It's as easy as to knit as a sock. So I definitely feel intimidated looking at it, but you know, there's some fun things to do here, some fun techniques to try, like putting in the zipper, for example. But also the actual knitting may not be as challenging as I'm imagining it might be. So yeah, I think this one just has real vacation vibes for me. And if I were going to knit it for the summer, I would choose really bright, vibrant, almost clashing colors. Again, I'm thinking of like that early 90s, like neon everything. Not quite neon, but you know what I'm saying? Like the really bright brights is what I would do this in. So this one really caught my eye, and I am quite intrigued by it. There's realistically no way I'm getting to it this summer, but I'm thinking about it. Okay, that is all the patterns I'm going to share for now. I am getting tired, I am getting thirsty, but there are more patterns in the Ravelry bundle below. Go check them out and see if anything catches your eye. I'd love to hear, have you knit Colourwork projects for the summer in the past before? Are you planning on making any in the future? Are any of these on your list? Would love to hear from you in the comments below. And yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit like if you enjoyed this content, and subscribe if you want to see more from me in the future. And until next time, happy knitting, everyone. Take care.